fucking Logan. How's it going, Logan?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Oh, yeah, I just got back from like 12 days out in Arizona and Colorado. No podcasts. I am ready for one now, man. It's been
Yeah.
too long. Too
What were
long.
you doing?
I was visiting my girlfriend and brother at their respective colleges.
Nice.
Just doing the rounds. But speaking of religious cults, I hear that you found yourself into one.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
the fuck? What in the world? What?
Yeah. So it's a long, convoluted story, but I'll try to keep it as simple as I can. So I went to Menlo College, small school in the Bay, and I was a freshman there, running track, going to school, doing my thing. And this guy, I won't say his name, but he was with this religious
Jesus.
organization. Yeah, pretty much, right?
Okay.
He came up to me while I was in the fitness center working out and was just like, "Hey, man, you want to study the Bible?" And I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I could probably use some God in my life. Like what could
Now,
hurt?"
had you had religious in your life before that?
A little bit. So
Okay.
growing up, I went to church and stuff like with my family on Christmas and
Gotcha.
a little bit more than
A
that.
holiday Christian.
Yeah,
A
like
holiday Christian. That's what they
most
call you.
most of America.
Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
So, and so he just asked me like, "Hey, man, you want to study the Bible?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so me and my roommate, this was actually pretty late into my freshman year. So me and my roommate were already pretty close. I was like,
Mhm.
"Hey, man, do you want to come study the Bible with this guy? Like, you know more about this stuff than I do. Like, let's check it out." And so we do it. And it's this study on basically like why you should believe in God. It's called
Uh-huh.
apologetics. And like basically in defense of the Bible, like why God is real, why you should study it and live your life by it. And I was like, wow, this is pretty crazy. Like I never knew any of this stuff. So I think I should probably start taking this a little bit more serious. And my roommate kind of got a weird vibe from it, but I didn't. I don't know why. But I was like, no, this guy seems pretty cool. He's not too pushy or anything. Seems pretty laid back. So I'll do another study with him. But my roommate didn't want to. And so I started doing these studies almost like after that first study, we started studying like almost every day.
Oh my God,
Like the
dude.
next week, it was like a week later. And then we started studying like almost every day. And
Why are you
uh,
going back?
so like kind of like I had told you when we FaceTime yesterday, a couple days
Uh-huh.
ago. I was just like pretty passive about it, not super assertive person. And I was just like, yeah, like I'll go with the flow. This guy keeps asking me to study the Bible and I'm down for it. Like, what could he like want out of me? You know what I mean? Like, what is he gaining?
Yes.
He's here spending his time, he's not getting paid for it or anything. So I was like, he can't want anything out of me. Let's just keep doing it, see where this thing goes. I'm kind of interested. Never gotten this deep into the Bible before. And but then they like as the studies went on, they start putting more pressure on you to make these decisions and make these commitments to the church, like attending church meetings, start living a certain way according to the Bible, like starting to cut things out of your life. And so it gradually got like more and more intense is what I would say. um, it got to the point to where like I was dating this girl at the time, and it got to the point where they were like, yeah, like you guys can't be together anymore. Like she's not a real Christian, and if you want to be like a disciple of Christ, like you can't be with a non-believer. And
Oh my God, bro.
so
And did you believe it?
yeah,
Did you break
they were
up?
back. Yeah, so they were backing it up with these scriptures from the Bible. I'm like,
Bro.
dude, if this is what the Bible's saying, like how can I argue that? Like if I believe in God and this is what the Bible says, this is God's word, then that's like, I don't know, I can't challenge that. And that's how they get people, I think, is they just they I don't want to say like they twist the words of the Bible, but they put them into practice in a way that's like really radical, um, and what nobody else really does. And they call themselves like real Christians, you know what I mean? Like they're the church of God, like they're God's people, and everyone else is doing it wrong. And so that should have been kind of like one of the first red flags, is when they were like, everyone else is doing it wrong. We're doing it the right way. Like we're God's church. And so yeah,
Like,
basically that like got me to the point to where I was like so invested that they're like, yeah, you need to break up with this girl. And I did it, and
what
called
did
her
you
on
tell her?
the she had known like that I was going to these Bible studies and stuff, but she didn't really know how deep I was getting into it. And I was just like, yeah, like you're not a Christian. And I was like, I turned into one of the most judgmental people ever, because that's just like how radical these people were. Is they were just so judgmental to people who were outside of their group. And I turned into that, and I was just like, yeah, like you're going to hell, like you're not a Christian, and we can't be together. And she didn't take it well, as expected, and it was hard on me too. And but I was almost like love bombed after that by all these guys that were just like, good job, bro, like you made the right choice and you're getting closer to God and all these things. So um that happened. And then another thing that we had to do was like, we just have to talk about all of our sin in the past. It's like whatever the
Mm.
Bible calls sin, you have to like confess that to all the brothers, right? And so every time we're doing these Bible studies, it's like me and like maybe 4 or 5 other guys who are already in the church, right? So you're kind of like outnumbered in that sense. And then it got to the point to where they're like, all right, you need to confess your sin. So I'm like telling all these guys like all the bad stuff I've done in my life, like just like anything from like drugs to things like that. And that was weird, you know, like even talking about sex and stuff like that. And I'm just like, yeah, this is kind of crazy. But you know, if this is what God wants, like, and if this is what the Bible says, then I'm going to do it. And like, I don't want to go to hell. And so it got to the point where um, I was attending like weekly meetings, and obviously going to church every Sunday, doing like these family times. And then I finally got baptized.
Whoa.
And that was like my entrance into the church, into God's church. And I was officially a member after that. And so basically my goal after that was to go and recruit other people into the church. And so it's called like sharing your faith, and it's we would just go and evangelize. um, the weird part is we would go to college campuses and go ask like basically teenagers, you know what I mean, like kids who
Yeah.
are like really susceptible to making like hasty decisions and just being like, yeah, let's do it, you know, like this sounds like a good idea, I'm going to join this cult. And so, and that's how they got me. You know, I was a young kid, very naive, and thought there's no one really out to get you in the world, but I got.
So basically, you just joined like a really weird frat, and
Yeah,
then
that's a good way to explain it. It was like, yeah, like members only kind of thing. And like you have to go through this process and get baptized to be considered a real Christian and like be in the
jeez,
church.
man,
And anyone outside of that's going to hell, basically.
that's insane. So like, was did your relationship with religion become sort of like in fear of hell versus like, oh, I'm trying to be a moral person, or
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it was pretty much like I don't want to go to hell, so I am going to do these things. Um, and that's kind of one of the fear tactics they've used multiple times. Like even when I was leaving the church, you know, I kind of had just realized like, yeah, this is all like BS. Like these people, they're just kind of like actually it wasn't even really like these people are wrong. It was more like I don't believe in God anymore. You know what I mean? And so I was like, I don't have a faith in God. Like there's no way God's real. And that's how, I left the church. And then they were like, well, you're going to hell. All the people you had the potential of saving are going to hell. Like your family's going to hell. All the people you'll meet in your life, like they would have had the chance to be saved through you, but now they're probably going to go to hell because you couldn't save them. Things like that. And I was just like, yeah, that's like, that's a good way to know, like, this is not a group I should associate myself with. And
How did you
so,
how did you get out, man? Like how'd you make that decision through all of that?
dude, it was hard. I was having like some mental breakdowns. I was having anxiety about it. And just because like it's almost like peer pressure to stay in. Like when you're like weak in your faith, or like you say like you sin or something, every time you sin you have to confess to another brother. And say like you're not feeling so strong in your faith and you're like getting ready to step away, they'll just like either love bomb you or like try to correct it, and you'll just get like all these messages from a bunch of people. And they're
Whoa.
like, bro, like just stay strong, like stay in the church, God loves you, bro. And they'll just start sending you scriptures, and like you just feel like peer pressured. And they just like, yeah, that's how it really felt. I felt a lot of pressure. And then I was like, there's like either two ways this is going to end. I'm either going to leave and like not look back, or I'm going to like dive deeper into this thing and not ever get out of it. And so I had to like make a decision, and I was just like, no, I'm done with this. Like it's hard to see my family because I was in the Bay Area and I'm from Reno. And so I wasn't even like around my family. I wasn't around any of my friends. All I had really was Noble was one of my closest friends during that time, and a couple other teammates. But that's about it. So I felt pretty isolated, and I had to just like make this decision to get away, and I did, and it's been the best thing I've ever done.
So do you not have any faith in anything in that, in like religion wise now?
So now it's hard to dive back into Christianity. I tried a little bit after this girl I was dating while at Menlo after I got out of the church. She was pretty religious, and so we tried to go to church together a little bit. But I was just like knew a lot of the Bible, and I was like, no, like anytime I see like another church, I feel like they're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? I was almost like brainwashed to think like this is not the right way. Like that church that I got out of, that's the only right way to be a Christian. And so I don't even really like dive into religion anymore because, well, for me, I have I guess you could call it a lack of faith in God. And so just the belief aspect, if I don't believe that God is really real, then it's hard for me to want to invest in something like that. So I just honestly don't think anybody knows what, the meaning of the universe is.
Yeah. It is
So yeah.
it's remarkable the amount of people that will tell you that they know what the meaning of the universe is, though.
Yeah.
You
Oh no.
know,
They make money off of it,
they
and
make a lot of
they
influence off that. Yep.
yeah. And that's what, when it comes down to it, that's what, like, for me, that's what faith is. It's people think they know. They have a faith in
Mhm.
something. There's no hard evidence proving this. You know what I mean? It's all a belief. And when you're basing your whole life off of that, it's just like doesn't really make sense to me. So I consider myself agnostic. Like I just don't really believe in anything. I don't know. Um I don't think I have all the answers, and I don't think anyone does. So
Jeez, man. That's a ridiculous introduction into Christianity, man. Good
yeah,
Lord, bro.
no, it was heavy. There was some, and there's a lot more details into that story where, talking about their tactics and
Their
the impact it
tactics.
had on my family and things like that. But yeah,
Good Lord.
so
Like, I remember you mentioned this off pod, but you're saying how that experience kind of shaped your love of the human story and like just feeling how other people have lived before?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's because I got to meet a lot of people going through that experience. And, it just kind of makes you think about life when you can make such a radical change to your life like that for like a belief system. And I just think about how many people go through experiences like that. You know what I mean? Where they're trying to search for some higher power or something like that. And then it kind of makes you think really existentially, like humans don't really know, like we don't have all the answers. You know what I mean? So the human experience is such a cool thing. We all have these different lives that we live. And in a lot of ways, they're alike, but in a lot of ways, they're so different too. And so the human experience is so unique. I think we were talking about just like the difference between like normal animals and like humans or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And you're like, dude, why are you shitting on mammals? Like, why are you shitting on animals? But I just think like humans are so like high consciousness that we're just like capable of experiencing life in a different aspect. And it's really unique
Mm,
person. So
yeah, that just kind of comes down to the point where like everyone wants to matter to someone, right? And in some ways, like a currency that people have is how many people I matter to.
yeah.
And you can derive a lot of self-worth in that. And a lot of that times that comes from not a lot of self-worth in your actual self, I'd say.
Yeah.
And so like, or when if you're questioning your own morals and your own objectivity, which I mean like a healthy human probably always is, there's always ambiguity for people to be like, wait, actually go this way, actually go that way, and
Yeah.
then religion can come in and kind of, because I was actually I had a buddy that just fell into faith randomly. Like, whoa, dude. Like one time you see him and he's not, and then the next time you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like your Instagram feed is
Yeah.
is all trucks and guns and God. Like, what the hell happened in the last like 6 months?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, I'll just try it out, right? I'll just like see what's good. And so I went to the church. He didn't actually go that day, whatever for other reason, but I went to his church and I was just kind of like, watched all these people and you see all these people around you and everyone's just like, yeah, God. And there's just some
Yeah.
dude like with some big muscles playing guitar, like, God is the greatest, and then like there's 400 people in this acoustic, beautiful room, and everyone's just like doing the same thing. And I'm like, oh my God, should I be going like this too? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I don't get it. But like I'm feeling this groove, man. Everyone's so powerful, and you have all these humans together doing the same thing, all focused on one thing. And then they just start saying shit where it's like being gay is a sin, and I'm like, what the fuck, bro? What?
Yeah.
What?
There's a dark side to it
Hold
that
on,
you
what?
don't. Yeah.
Or like every human is immoral in evil. Like every
Yeah.
human is innately evil. I'm like, well,
Yep.
that sounds like a bad way to go about life, like
Yeah.
because all that's doing is creating a dependency, right? Like that's just creating a demand chain where like, oh, now I have to go to church because I'm evil without it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
But I guess even with church, you're evil with it, but
Yeah.
then at least you get to go to heaven and then everything is good, right?
Yeah.
But I know that you have some kind of fascination with acknowledging that there is an end, that
Yeah.
we will eventually all die, probably.
Yeah. Well, so unless you're a Christian, right, then you live
Oh,
forever.
then you go forever.
But no, so I think like I've always been fascinated with um just the mortality of like human existence, we live this life that's like so cool, it's full of so many cool experiences, and then we just die at the end of it. Like it all just ends, you know what I mean? It's like
It's
what
pretty
the fuck?
epic, bro.
That kind of sucks. So I just like started diving into that a little bit, and I was a psychology major at Menlo, and I did my senior thesis on just like the idea of memento mori. like just acknowledging and remembering that you're gonna die. Memento Mori is literally like remember your mortality in Latin. And it's just kind of weird because like a lot of people go throughout their daily lives with these like psychological protections against the idea of death. You know what I mean? Like you don't think about death every day. We fill our lives up with so many things to just like keep us busy and keep us going that you're not thinking about like what really matters and am I going to die today or tomorrow? You know what I mean? And so I think when you think about it more often, it changes the way you make decisions. It changes the way you live your life. I don't know. I just like to use it because like you don't sweat the small stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It's this like life that we're living is so weird and so unknown to humans. Like we don't know what happens after we die. We don't know where we came from. We don't know the existential meaning to the universe and all that stuff, but we just know that we die at the end of it. And that's one thing that humans can't conquer. You know, humans want to conquer everything, and we've evolved to survive over time. You know, humans are living longer than they ever have today than they were years ago. And so we have evolved to survive through hardships in life and things like that. But ultimately we just die at the end of it. And it's just a crazy thing to think about, that one day like I won't even exist, you know?
Jeez, bro.
But we can comprehend that mentally. So it's like we're
I mean, kind of though.
yeah, like
I don't know, man. That's what is it? What does it look like? You know, I was like,
yeah,
all of a sudden it just goes it like that. Is that what it is? You like your eyes closed? Like I
don't know, man.
What? Like you just go into like this sleep state? I don't know. It's weird. Like I've heard this one theory that I thought was really interesting was like the human mind is so evolved and advanced and powerful that what if in the exact moment that you died, that your mind could relive your entire life experiences infinitely on loop till you felt like you lived forever or like you kept going?
Oh shit.
Yeah, like imagine in like a snap of a finger, like you could have lived an entire lifetime or like 1,000 lifetimes because your mind is just like it manipulates time in a weird way where you can just like
like a dream kind of
like a dream. Exactly.
Wow.
And that's deja vu. That's weird memories that you're like, why do I have that memory? Why do I remember going to the grocery store with my mom if my mom's whatever the hell, right?
No, I think wow, yeah, that's a cool theory. I've never heard of that. I've heard of like people reliving their lives before they die, but not to the extent of like infinitely on loop into where it's like almost like never ends. You know what I mean? So it's like you're still living, but time is warped. So
what if we're on loop right now, man?
That's what I was thinking. Like, what if like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Bro.
That's like when you start getting down the rabbit hole and like you just start thinking about shit and you're like, oh my God, like what is reality? What is
bro? Right? Yeah. So, like I've heard smart people talk about this before a little bit, and they're like, like theoretically there's like a 50-50 we're like in the simulation, bro. Like we don't know. Like we don't, like it's just like a toss up. Cause like who's to say, right?
There's just like, there's no laws to
the afterworld.
Yeah, and life in general. Like there's ways to describe life, like physics and science and stuff like that, but there's no like ways of saying like who is at the command of everything. And that's why I think people search for God. You know what I mean? They need something to fill that spot. And so they're like, yeah, God's at the command of everything. And when I die, I know I'm going to heaven to see God, and that makes me feel better about it. But
I do that like can limit a person's like carpe diem, like just like I'm gonna make the most of this moment. like it doesn't matter as much to make the most of this moment because I know literally everything I've ever wanted is going to be given to me as soon as I die. So
Yeah.
it's like, why would you chase this moment
Yeah.
versus like what you're saying with your approach to life is like, dude, it's going to just be over. Like
Yeah.
we gotta go, man. We
Yeah.
gotta go. We gotta live.
This is our chance.
This is our
That's all you get.
chance.
And I think people just take that for granted, man, and it sucks.
Oh yeah. I mean, you see how many people just like go around their average lives. Like, this is something I was talking to someone recently, and they were like mentioning um this program they wanted to do. Um, and they're like, yeah, I really want to do this program. It's gonna look so good on my resume. And I was like, bro. So what you're saying is that your entire like self is just building this piece of paper so that some random human that you don't even know can judge you well
Yeah.
enough to start handing you out currency? Like,
Yeah.
what the
No,
fuck, bro?
it's a weird concept. It's yeah, I mean, our values of self-worth, especially in the United States, are based off of money and
Mm-hmm.
how much money we can make. You know what I mean? And like what your status is. It's weird. You know, people are obsessed with I make this much money or I have this degree and I'm this. And it's like, dude, like who are you as a person? You know what I mean? How do you treat other people? And that's what
Yeah.
matters most, I think. So
That is
it's crazy.
an interesting segue into something that I've been pondering recently is like in essence the morality of pure capitalism to where how much is am I trying to play the game as best I can to how much are you supposed to be looking out for the greater good. And so where I that comes to me is um like housing, right? So housing is an essential service. Like everyone needs housing. Yet there are people and that go to booming markets like Phoenix, like Salt Lake, like Reno, even like
Yeah.
Las Vegas, like Texas, and they buy up, hundreds of homes. And in
Yeah.
that chant, they're limiting the American dream of buying your own home to hundreds of families because now these families are going to be incentivized to rent more because there's going to be less, on the market that is able to be bought. So the price is going to go up and then rent's going to go up and it's a booming place. And it's just like everything's going up and you're just like limiting these people out of the market. But it's a fucking insane financial opportunity to be on the other side. Like if
Oh,
you're owning the shit, like if I own 25 homes, I could be set for life to live like a decent life, like I could live
yeah.
very well off and kind of never work a day in my life if I had that.
Oh yeah,
Like,
dude. And that in essence could be an aspect of the American dream too. On the the other
oh,
side of it is capitalizing on this opportunity that like real estate investing, right? And just making a shit ton of money off of it and having passive income to where you don't need to work a 9 to 5. Yeah, but people are basically paying your rent. People are paying you for the rest of your life.
yeah.
And
And then,
there's two sides of that coin though, there's a housing problem, but you can make a shit ton of money off of it. And it's weird. I've thought about it. I've thought about like, man, how cool would it be to make a bunch of money in real estate and just like chase that, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I just don't think I really want to live that kind of life. It's just a lot of work and it just doesn't seem like the most ethical thing to do.
mm-hmm.
Um,
But in the same way, like obviously everyone to an extent would like to be making a lot more money than they are right now, like, and it comes back to like how valuable is your American dream compared to your neighbor's American dream?
that's true.
And like, but then the flip side of that is like there's just this random game that we're all in. It's this weird metaverse simulation bullshit craziness going on. And how like how much do I just want to win the game? You know, like, oh, if I can win the game, why would I not win the game?
Yeah. And that's what America's all about, is it's more individualistic than like Eastern countries, you know what I mean? Whereas Eastern civilization is built on community, and Western countries, that kind of civilization is all built on individuality. And it's like, I matter as a person, not we matter as a community. It's I matter more. And so that just boils down to being more selfish, I think, and thinking like my dream matters more than yours, and I'm going to go out and get it. And it just comes down to making money and getting the car, getting the house, getting the wife, and having the 2.8 kids, and just like making more money than your neighbor, you know? And that's what people think about, but really, it's not that simple.
Dude, there's so many flip sides to it, because on the other flip side is like, okay, we're in this game that you will get shit on if you don't capitalize everything.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't capitalize, you're gonna end up like over like a week ago, I took a trip on a budget airline, and the flight was $31. And I was like, sweet, that's awesome, let's go. And I get on the flight, I'm like boarding, I have 2 backpacks on, and then the guy stops me and is like, sir, you have 2 backpacks on, you're only allowed 1. And I was like, oh, it's like a backpack, it's just on my back. I was like, it's not even that. And she's like, no, I need to charge you for that. And I was like, it's like, oh God. And I was like, okay, what is it gonna be, like $35 or something? And he's like, so it's gonna be $80. And I'm like, bruh, what?
Yeah.
Bro, what? And I was like, I refuse to live a life in which that situation is going to, like, ruin my weekend, or ruin my trip, or like cause me financial despair. Because like, there's half of this country is living in a situation where an $80 fine, like out of nowhere, would cause them to like have to not get enough groceries that week, which is absurd. So like,
that sucks.
Bro, like, how do you rationalize this shit, bro? Like,
you can't. It's a corporation trying to milk everything they can out of their consumers, and we let them, because ultimately, when it comes down to it, Americans are consumers. We consume everything, and they'll just, they take advantage of you, I think. They make you pay fees for this, fees for that. It's everything costs money. And so if you're not making money, you're going to have a hard time.
You're losing money, dude.
Yeah. So.
Oh, man, dude. Oh, and then there is also like, there's a finite resources, right? There's finite money, finite time, finite everything, essentially. To the point where, like, theoretically, I make more money, someone else makes less money.
Yeah.
Or I, like, in entertainment, like, I take up more of your time, so I have more of my time, or like something like that. Like, oh God, the morality of that.
Like, that's kind of why, like, when you think of the entertainment industry, especially, it's so cutthroat, because there's only so many viewers for things, right? And so you're trying to, it's almost like, I don't know, I guess a recent example would be like Super Bowl commercials. So a lot of people watch the Super Bowl, like a lot of people, and you have to pay a shit ton of money to get a Super Bowl ad like placed during the Super Bowl. And that's why people get so excited about the Super Bowl commercials. But it's like, you have to fight, almost bid, pay the highest price to get those viewers, to get your content out to that group of people. And even with things like content creators and stuff like that, it's like, the more followers you have, like the more eyes you have on your stuff, like the more money it's going to generate. And so people fight over that shit. Like, it's just weird, like fans and consumers and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
But I think where that comes down to, where I've kind of tried to shift, is it feels wrong to me, like, because I make stuff that I put on the internet, and I want people to watch it,
Yeah.
right? But what I really want to do is focus on giving inherent value in people consuming what I'm putting out. So there is definitely a large side of YouTube, an even bigger side of TikTok, a large side of news, a large side of TV, a large side of sports, all entertainment, everything you're watching that is just there to distract you through advertising. Like that is it, right?
Yeah.
So what I really want to do is I want somebody turns on the Kalen Yeager podcast, and I want them to be able to watch however long, and they're going to take something that's going to improve their life and make them think about life a little bit differently. Like I
Yeah.
really want people to like consume this and be like, there is not one side to this. There's not one side to that. There's all this going on. We have to try to manage it all and come out with some kind of mesh of your own unique opinion on everything, and to the point where it's productive towards your life to where you can kind of capitalize in some direction.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would like. But
That
how what
I was just gonna say that's great because when we live in this era of TikTok where it's all like superficial stimulation, like where it's just like every 2 seconds you're seeing something different.
yeah,
And it's like all it is people dancing or doing stupid shit. It's like
yeah,
you can get sucked into that and it just like you can watch it for hours, but it just like makes you feel like shitty after. Like you're almost
yeah,
depressed after watching TikTok for like 2 hours, or at least I get that way.
yeah.
But when you listen to a podcast that's like with like rich with information about something you're interested in, you can like take that and apply that to your life. So I think that's really cool that like that's your aim for this because that's what people need.
So let's get into you here. Like, how are you navigating this capitalist society trying to give benefit to the world in some way?
Yeah. Well, so I struggled with that for a while, trying to figure out where my place is in this world, in this society. But I think it's kind of starting to come together a little bit. So I graduated from school last May and uh, just like had no idea what I was going to do. I was like getting anxious about it because I was like, there's people out there who already have their careers in motion right out of school. And I don't even know if I'm going to use my degree. I probably won't use my degree. So I just wasted all this fucking money on a degree. And like, what did I even gain from going to school? So I was having all these
Noble.
questions. Yeah, noble, noble and running. That's all I really got. But so I was going through like an existential search, I guess you could say, and was working for my dad in like this metal production warehouse and just had a lot of time to think because literally I was sitting on a conveyor all day just pushing metal through this thing.
Wow.
And so I was just like listening to podcasts like about careers and finding yourself and what you want to do and like not just finding a career that makes you money but finding a career that you can actually like see yourself doing and being happy in. And so I really just started to like break down like who am I bare bones, like what do I love to do. I like talking to people. I think people are awesome. Most people we're like some of the most unique and abstract beings on this earth. So I like getting to know people, but I also love like the physical aspect of life. So running, being athletic, pursuing physical endeavors. And so I was like, how do I combine those two to where it's like the intellectual side of things and getting to know people and being smart, and the physical side of things where it's not just sitting at a computer all day and doing something, but you're actually active. And so what I came across was like physical therapy, I think would be my ideal way of getting to do both of those things. And so that's kind of what I'm pursuing right now. I work as a physical therapy aide at an orthopedic clinic. And so
Mm.
I basically just assist people in their workouts after surgery and try to get them back up to full health. Like, for example, I had a knee surgery when I was a teenager. I playing football. I got my knee all messed up,
Mm,
tore some ligaments, and so I had to go get surgery. And I saw that like these people were helping me get back to my normal life, and I was, yeah, that's like something I want to do. You know, I want to help people, but enjoy doing it. And so I think it's a great career to do that. But hopefully going to PT school within the next couple years, and then be able to get a job from there and make some decent money. You know, it's not at one point I was like, I need to make as much money as I can. But then it's like, no, because if you're rich but you're not happy, there's no point in doing that. Like that would suck. So
yeah.
I'd like to make a decent amount of money, but also enjoy my life. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Trying to balance the capitalist society we live in.
Yeah, it's that balance, man. I had a moment a few days ago where I was like just kind of like grinding on like work. I was like boom, like hours, like, and then I was like what's the point of all this? Like, what am I doing it for? And then I mean, I feel like everyone comes to this point like multiple times throughout even a day, like what's the point? And I was like there's different perspectives to it, because I know like some of the elite are like, I'm trying to push the human race forward. That
Yeah,
is a lofty fucking goal, man. I
like
don't know if
Elon
you can.
Musk.
Elon Musk, bro. I
Yeah.
don't. Can Elon Musk ever be fulfilled and happy fully?
Well, I
Like when
think he's even said like he's not happy. Like he just said like he's like when you're working 17 hours a day and like he's just like this is not an enjoyable life. He's like people glamorize my life, but it is not.
yeah,
It is not fun. You
yeah,
know, this is hard.
yeah.
But I think he's doing something pretty like cool. You know, it's pretty noble, but it's not ideal for happiness, at least.
He's essentially sacrificing his life for the human race,
Yeah,
which is wild, bro.
it is wild.
And I know he said like his idea behind it is, I'm if the more knowledge we have, the more we could possibly understand like what's the point, is kind of where he comes down to. And so like
Yeah.
progressing the human race, eventually hopefully I'll be like, oh, that's why, you know. But that man is optimized, bro.
Oh yeah.
Like so something I found out recently is his entire day is chunked into 5-minute blocks every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds so stressful.
Oh my God. Like you have to be assigned to 12:55 to 1, you're pooping, bro. Like,
Yeah.
could you,
Oh,
God, oh,
micromanaging your every second of your life.
it's
That's just
just, I don't, it's like just the only way you can possibly do as much as he does, though. Like,
yeah.
the man flies 300 times a year. Like, that's disgusting. That's
Yeah.
disgusting. Like, to the point, dude, he flies a PJ from South LA to North LA because
Traffic takes
traffic
too
would, it would
long.
take him an hour and a half to get there, 20 miles, but it takes him 15 minutes in a PJ. So he does
That's
it because an hour of Elon Musk time is worth 10 times more than the $10,000 he spent on the PJ to get over there, you know,
that's true. Yeah, that
which
is
is
very true.
fucking crazy, bro.
For him, time literally is money. Like that's crazy. But I don't know, that just makes me think like do you really want to have to like live up to that standard of productivity like every day? You know what I mean? Sometimes I think because I love being productive, I love getting things done, and it like fulfills me that way. But when you set the standard too high, I feel like that's just not enjoyable. Like you
Mm,
just takes away your life.
yeah, because I've definitely noticed that recently, is like I'm trying to fill up like all the space with doing something to progress something,
Yeah.
to the point where I'm like I'm comprehending that like I'm not just present in my moment. I mean, I'm present in what I'm doing, 'cause I think I can get into that pretty easily, but not like present in an actual reality of like, oh, look at that tree. That's a
Yeah.
nice bird call. Wow, I'm gonna go like hug that cat or something. Like I'm not like it starts to become futile because you're like, this is against the objective. Like we need to
Yeah.
keep doing this. And it's
You
like,
get so narrow. Like your
yeah,
view on life gets so narrow. You get locked into whatever you're doing. You like lose the grand scheme. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's like when I say like we do so much that we forget about death every day. Like sometimes people like are actually like really afraid of death, like afraid to die. And so they just do so much stuff to like counteract that and to like numb themselves out to it. Like if I just push, work hard every day and always constantly fill my mind with like whatever the task at hand is, then I won't think about the greater picture and think like we have no idea what the fuck's going on, but we're all gonna die. You know, we're on this giant rock floating in the middle of space and we don't know if aliens exist or not, but I need to get my homework done for class tomorrow. You know, it's a weird balance of
yeah.
small scope and large scope when you think about life.
And like, really, dude, we're not even a giant rock, dude. We're like a little pebble, bro. Like,
That's that's even crazier because to us it's a giant rock, but in the grand scheme of things, dude, it's
like
tiny.
we're a millionth the size of the sun. Like,
Yeah,
God, like
you can't even
you
comprehend
can't.
that.
No, you can't. Like, how big is an ant compared to me? I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
maybe not. Like, an ant might be like bigger than the Earth compared. If I was a sun, ant was the Earth. The ant might be bigger than the Earth is.
yeah,
Like what?
yeah. Well, and then if you think about like quantum physics, like the quantum realm, like even smaller than that, you know. And so there's just like so many levels to it. Yeah, it'll fry your brain
You
thinking
get
about
into it, yeah,
it.
deep hole. So like, how do you manage that? Like, how do you manage the existential crisis? Like,
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what, running a lot gives you a lot of time to think about things. I'm sure as you know, like you're a runner yourself. You kind of just get to meditate on things and life. And I don't know, that's probably why I think about things on such a like a large scale so often is because like when you're in a meditative state like that, it just kind of pops into your head. What is the meaning of life? Like, why are we doing all this? Gives you a chance to reflect and stuff. And so I guess the way I manage it is just to think about it. You know, I try to balance the large scale versus the small scale. You know, my everyday um, tasks and what I have to do, and you know, kind of the projection that I'm on for the next 5 to 10 years of my life. I just kind of worry about those things, and then the bigger stuff I really know I can't control. You know what I mean? It's like whatever the truth to the universe is, the truth to humankind, like the truth to existence, whether I like can control that or not, it's not going to really change anything in my daily life. You know what I mean? It's on such a grand level that it really has no impact on my day to day, which is it's kind of weird to say. It's like I'm just going to let all that happen and whatever happens happens. I'm just going to worry about what I have to do today. And I guess if you think about the grand level of things too much, then you'll get distracted and you just won't be able to progress. You know, like you'll just be, and that's why I think people go down rabbit holes and they kind of get crazy because they're like into um, aliens and they're into conspiracy theories and they're trying to like tap into this like understanding life in a deeper way, but you can't really. I don't think we were designed to be honest.
mm,
We've evolved as humans and our brains have evolved too, but they're not that evolved.
yeah. And we're flooded with an ungodly amount of information compared to like any generation before us.
Oh yeah.
That is like, what is the repercussion of that, right?
Yeah, like where does that lead? Like how much more can we evolve? And yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see in a billion years.
Yeah, like
We
good
won't,
lord.
but yeah. So
Yeah, I was watching something. I think this might have been the something related to the social dilemma. You remember? Did you watch that?
Yeah.
That Netflix doc, and they're saying how like the computing power of mankind has gone up like trillions of times in the last 50 years compared to the biological power of the mind in theory has gone up like this much, zero.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we're able to compute a trillion times faster than two generations before us, but have had zero evolutionary changes. Like we're still just some monkeys, bro. But we have monkeys with rockets and the every single fucking thing in the world at our fingertips. And that's either the greatest tool in the history of the world or the worst thing that's ever happened,
Yeah.
depending if you have control of your mind or not.
One, I think it's like technology is when people talk about AI and like the like ungodly advancements of AI, like these AI machines are writing new information that humans don't even know. Like they're creating new languages and communicating. You know what I mean? That is scary because we've like almost created something that is far more evolved and advanced than we are. And we can lose control of that pretty easily. So, like you said, it's either really great in advancing technology and advancing the human race, but if we can't control it, then it could be really, really bad. Makes me think of like iRobot. But
When you bring up AI, I was just thinking about like as you're talking there, it's like the further technology goes, the further it's going to exacerbate the weakness and the strength in an individual human. And what I mean by that is the richer, smarter, more advanced, more in control of their own self humans are going to be exponentially every single year further and further and further above the person that is watching metaverse TikTok. Like could you like
yeah,
imagine the difference? Like to
yeah,
the point where it's so immersive that the person down here never leaves and the person to up here is never in it and is just taking all of your money and resources. Like
yeah,
that's what it's going to be.
dude, it's
God.
yeah, that's like a dystopian future.
But that's like what we're already doing, bro.
Yeah, it like when you think about the metaverse and stuff like that, that kind of freaks me out because people like you've seen Wally,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
We're
Oh
all
yeah.
just sucked into those like artificial like computers almost. And like they're on a completely different planet because they ruined the one that they were on. But now they're just like living in this spaceship sucked into these computers and that's like their reality. And that's what the metaverse reminds me of, unfortunately. It's like
Holy shit, bro.
I don't know. And people talk about like cryptocurrencies and owning real estate in the metaverse, but it's like the metaverse isn't even tangible. It's not. I don't know. It's weird. Our existence as humans is moving in a weird direction.
Mm-hmm. And the metaverse is just going to be pushed by the elite. Like it's just going to be like the elite, the top corporations, the top humans are just going to be like, yeah, plebs, metaverse, here you go, destruction, destruction,
They're gonna find a
destruction.
way to make money off of it.
Yeah, and then they're going to monetize everything, man. They're going to start monetizing your thoughts, bro.
Yeah, you're gonna have ads popping into your head and
That's
shit.
that's my fear, dude. That is my
Yeah.
fear. Is imagine, dude, targeted thoughts. God. Imagine you can
No,
take a
that's
30-second break where you have to listen to a fucking Spotify ad. Like
yeah.
in your mind, bro. Oh.
Yeah. No, it's oh. Have you I don't know, this is kind of related. Have you read the book 1984 by George Orwell?
No, I mean I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but no.
It's kind of like that where like it's just like extreme censorship and like if you control information, you control people because we rely on information so heavily. And so it's like it's like a dystopian novel about like the future and like what happens
Whoa.
when you censor everything and you push out a certain narrative, and it's almost cult like, but it's like happens to everyone. And so there's like crimes against like even thinking a certain way or
Good
thinking
Lord,
certain
dude.
things. It's I think I have it right here. I'll show you the book, but you should check it out, dude. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I should probably, that's probably a must read.
Yeah, it looks like this.
Wow.
I read it a little while ago, but it's that's kind of what that makes me think of. Like we get to a point where like even our thoughts are um like censored or controlled. Like in the metaverse, I feel like that's totally possible.
Super easy even.
Yeah.
But the scary thing is that's already happening on this planet right now in
Yeah.
countries like North Korea, China, Russia.
Yeah.
That's terrifying, bro.
And that,
Like,
yeah. Like censorship, people think censorship in a way it can be good because like you have like social media platforms like Twitter is a big one where if you post something of like a radical opinion, it usually gets flagged or taken down or deleted. But like
mhm.
even if on Instagram these days, if you post something about COVID, it's like it has the information
It
tab
is,
at the
yeah.
bottom. You know what I mean? Or
To
like they
like
were
a
doing that.
random website, yeah.
Yeah. And they were doing that on Facebook too, where it's like fact checkers. And it's like if you're censoring information to that extent, it just kind of shows that like you can censor anything at that point, because even though social media is a private they're corporations, I believe, like run
Sure.
by businesses, they're so like involved in human life. Like people, everybody uses them, social media, to connect, and that's how information is spread. It's almost like not like just subject to that private business. It's like subject to everybody now. So you can't censor information. I feel like you can't censor information and like expect people to just like be okay with that, you know,
Yeah.
flag things that you disagree with or something like that. But yeah,
But
censorship's crazy. It's a weird concept because this like day and age that we live in, information is everything. It's like,
I, oh, sorry.
no, you're
Yeah.
good.
No, I've actually been thinking about censorship recently, and I've kind of like come to sort of a conclusion on it is that, like, okay, just take Trump, for example. Like, Trump kicked off Twitter. It's like, okay, so he was enlivening a base that could result in some cases of violence, which is bad, right?
Yeah.
But here's the problem is as soon as you start allowing censorship, like, number one, who is the censorer, right?
Yeah.
And it's these random, you know, it's these random dudes with a lot of money that own tech companies,
Yep.
right? That's kind of it because it's their private business.
Yeah.
So their agenda gets pushed, which is scary because then human thought comes down to one person, right?
Yep.
That's terrifying. And then like as soon as you start censoring, where do you stop? Like
Yeah.
what is far enough out of line to the point where it's bad, to the point like where you can't, like it's like, oh, I have to get rid of that, bring everyone back in. And
Yeah.
then the third thing is you also think about like how many movements, the only reason, like every single actual influential movement starts by being ludicrous. Like, oh, I'm sure having black people not slaves was ludicrous, like
Yeah.
you
Like
think
at
about
that
that.
time, that was a radical thought. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, so when you restrict people's ideas and things like that, that's like that are going against the status quo, that's like, I don't know, that's how change happens. You know what I mean? So you have to let people say what they want to say. I think in all aspects, if you agree with it or disagree with it, doesn't matter. People have to be able to voice themselves.
For sure.
And yeah, that's the tricky situation we've gotten ourselves into with social media, I think, is there's a gray area. There's no like you said, who's the censor? Who determines what level of morality, or like what level of what's right and wrong, and like what we're gonna abide by, and where do you draw the line in the sand? It's tricky. It's a gray area for sure.
I think the conclusion that I have kind of come to is that the gray area is so big that having censorship at all is immoral and unjust and like can't be, it just can't happen. Like I don't think there's a way to regulate it in a fair and healthy manner to where like everyone is equally censored. I don't think that's even possible. So I feel like it's just like, just let people talk, even if sometimes it can be bad.
Yeah.
But that's still scary, bro.
Well, it is, because some people say some pretty wild shit.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you don't want to see that like on your
feed,
Twitter feed, I guess. But I mean, you also have the ability to like mute people or block people and things like that. So, but yeah, we've created a monster that's hard to deal with in terms of social media. So, and it plays into presidential elections. It plays into world affairs. It plays into everything now, and it's crazy.
Yeah, so I had two people on the podcast that one was from Russia, like originally, and then another one was went and competed in the Beijing Winter Games. And so both those people were in Russia or China, and Russia and China both have their own state-run search engine.
Shit.
Yeah, so they don't have Google. They have their own thing to where all of the information is put through that search engine, and even if they think it's like could be real, it's not. Like it's like,
dude, you got to read that 1984 book, because there's like a part in there where it's like a person, like the main character, it's his job to like get rid of information that goes against like the status quo, like the state, right? And it's like a state job where you're working for the state, but you're like basically destroying anything that proves that there's existence outside of what the state says. And that kind of reminds me of like what you just said. Like if there's a state search engine, meaning it's controlled by the government, and it's censored to whatever they want you to see.
That's terrifying, bro.
And that's how North Korea is too, I believe. It's like the leaders are going to tell you what they want you to hear and what they want you to see, and they'll tell the rest of the world that everything's fine and dandy, but it's like on the inside there's like people starving, and there's people being killed, there's people being censored, and I want to look something up. There's this woman, she was on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh yeah.
And she was born in North Korea, and she got out of North Korea and moved to the United States. And she just starts saying like what it was like living in North Korea. And she like is an activist now and speaks out against it. And I forgot her name though. Let me see if I can find it.
I think I actually remember a clip from that podcast. I think I saw a clip on it, but she was saying something like you'd walk down the street in North Korea and you'd see dead bodies on the ground, and that was like an everyday occurrence. Yeah. Like that's just what life was dead bodies on the ground, like children playing with dead bodies.
Yeah.
That's what the fuck, to the point where it was normal. Like that's like, it's not like, oh my God, it's a dead body. It's like, oh, that's Steve. He's been dead for 3 weeks. Like, yeah. Or not even, that's just body. It's not even named. Yeah. It's just like, ugh.
Take the life away from it. Like it wasn't even a person. It's just a thing now.
It's just a thing. It's just a mass of parts.
Yeah. God. Yeah. Her name's Yeonmi Park.
Yeonmi Park. Oh, she got an American name at the end.
Yeah. But yeah, she's cool. That's what that reminded me of.
That's fire. Speaking of the controlling information is reminds me of a different it was actually on a Joe Rogan the guy was on a Joe Rogan podcast, but this dude, I forget his name, but he is super into internet security and like privacy, basically. Kind of like a lower, like a less risque, like Edward Snowden kind of thing, maybe. But anyways, he was saying that virtually every single search engine, like Bing, Yahoo, like all these other ones that you think are independent aren't. Basically, there's like the internet, right, with all this information and things in here. And then Google has the world's best technology at getting information from the internet, right? Like this global information library. They have the best way to mine the information. So all these other programs, because it's cheaper and faster and easier, they just take from what Google gives them and they put it on their search engine. So theoretically, Google has the power of all the search engines in the world. And so everything goes through Google. Wow. To the point where he was saying that, okay, this is when, like 10 years ago, Google shut down the internet for 45 minutes. Really? So basically, it was like Saturday morning, sometime in like 2012 or something. And the internet just like for like 40 minutes was just down. Like to the point where like you click on any website and it says website not available. Every single thing was website not available. And what the guy theorized, it was just like some nerd at Google was like, I want to see what the fuck I can do, because all the stock markets were not operating because it was a Saturday. So he's like, I probably won't get any repercussions. Let me just see if I can shut it down. It's like, oh shit, I did it. It's off. It just like fuck with everyone. And so no one got any, like you couldn't access the internet. Yeah. Right. And then he was also saying that, Google has this fucking power over all information, which information is power. Yeah. To where Google handpicks which websites are at the top. Right.
I've heard about that.
Yeah. That's really scary, bro.
That's like censorship, but it's like indirect censorship.
Yes.
They're not like intentionally like leaving things out, but nobody goes to the second page of Google.
No one's ever been on the second page of Google ever. Weird shit happens in the second page of Google.
Yeah. So it's like, that's interesting. I've heard people who are like trying to get away from Google and like using different search engines, but it's like, how do you get away from Google? Google's everywhere.
So
like you said, all the other search engines.
Yeah. So the one that he recommended that I've actually been using for a few weeks now is called Brave. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it works pretty good. So yeah, it's called Brave, like just like the word brave, but it's really nice because it's like probably the most objective search engine, I would say. But also it blocks all ads.
Oh, that's nice.
So like, even if you're like, I don't give a fuck if the internet's like, dude, it blocks ads. Like, so if I'm reading an article, it's not going to be like titty pics, like, like come check out what this Russian hot mom in your area. Like, fuck that, bro.
Yeah.
To the point, like I've used it for 3 weeks and it said it's blocked 10,000 ads.
That's crazy.
God, like we consume 10,000 ads in 3 weeks just on our laptop.
Dude, that's where all the money is.
Yeah. We're being programmed, dude.
Yeah.
Like imagine that, if you see cabbages are green, like just all around you, like every fucking day, like all the time, everywhere. Like, even if you're not even paying attention, it's like, on the street bench, or it's on the corner of your Instagram where it pops up in a weird ad, or like probably you click it out. You're going to think cabbages are green when they're purple or whatever the fuck, like dude, that's just what it's going to be.
Marketing plays on like psychology so much. Like you don't even realize it, but everything we see is some form of marketing.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's like I said earlier, that's like the consumer idea that we've built here. You have the consumer, and then you have all the companies that are just feeding us things. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like that's how we get cool shit, like laptops and all this advanced technology and stuff. Like that's how we get advanced stuff, but it takes over life for sure.
Because that's like exactly what social media is like making a YouTube video is how am I going to keep retention for as long as possible, right? So like you're just putting distractions in as much as possible, usually a lot of people,
Yeah.
in order to keep people on your site,
Yeah.
essentially, like to the point where like Mr. Beast, who is like probably the most optimized YouTube guy, you've heard of him, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super
So
rich.
like to Mr. Beast, to start a Mr. Beast video, he makes the screen, he makes it super exposed and bright right at the beginning for the first like 1 second, because it like opens your eyes enough to the point where you want more information.
Yeah.
Like it'll like dilate your eyes, and then you have to like get closer and get more engaged into the phone, into
Yeah.
where it helps retention. Like,
It's crazy.
what, bro?
Yeah.
We're being so tricked, you know?
100%. And we're okay with it most of the time.
Yeah.
People are just like, I kind of know what's going on, but it's, I'm not going to change anything, like it's like with TikTok, dude. TikTok, you just go down the rabbit hole and watch it for hours because it's just the way it's set up. The algorithm, the length of the videos, it's meant for you to just stay on it and watch it and watch it and watch it and watch it.
Forever.
And yeah, I don't know. But it's nice to just sit down and read a book or like go out for a run every once in a while, just like break that, because we're constantly being fed stuff. Like if you're watching TV, if you're watching YouTube, or you're on TikTok or whatever, social media, it's nice to just like have your own thoughts. And so if you go for a run or you're working out or whatever, it's just you and your thoughts, and you can decipher those and digest all that shit. But yeah.
That's actually really interesting. Because I do feel like a lot of people don't allow time to think. Like there's a constant state of distraction
Yep.
to suppress thoughts, because thoughts can be scary sometimes, and like you don't
Yeah.
want to fucking deal with them. So like you just watch TikTok
Yeah.
because you
Oh,
can't.
I've done that, dude. I've
Yeah.
like, when I'm like, damn, like I have this problem in my life, right? Like maybe something needs to get done. And I'm like, I just don't want to deal with, like, that sounds like not fun. Like I don't want to deal with this. I'm just gonna go on TikTok. It's so much easier that you don't have to deal with life. You can just go sit in this void.
Oh
But it's
God.
not productive.
Damn, dude. That's bro.
Yeah.
um so how have you how are you shaping your life to where you can expand your like your horizon of life? 'Cause I know like you're a lover of life. You're trying to like get this human experience. Like how do you go about your day to day in order to expand your scope and try to live as much as you can?
Yeah, I think kind of one of the principles, or I don't even know if it's a principle, it's more of just like an idea that I live by, is it's called eudaemonia or eudaimonia. And it's kind of this idea of getting life, like human flourishing, getting to the point where you're living a life that's like to the fullest extent, and you're flourishing in whatever you're doing. So flourishing physically, mentally, spiritually, if you're into that. Um, and I think that comes down to doing things that are like fulfilling, and not just like superficial almost. So when I think of things that are like superficial, I think of, for example, TikTok and drinking, partying, things like that, that are like super high pleasure, but they're not fulfilling and you kind of feel empty after. And so I think chasing things that are hard and have many levels to it, have a learning curve, things that you can become a better person through doing. So, like running, for example, there's so many levels to running. When it comes to gaining fitness, you have to, go out every day and run and run, and it gets a little monotonous, but you're building character through it and you're learning how to deal with adversity and injuries. And if it comes time to, like, if you're going to go do a race, you have to get through that and learn how to strategize, and it just makes you a better person overall. It's not something that's like a quick hit of dopamine and you're like, man, this feels so good. It's dragged out and it makes you a better person in the long run. I think in my idea of human flourishing and contentment, that's what I think it is. Not just like getting drunk, because getting drunk is easy. It's
Yeah.
not, it doesn't take practice. It doesn't take hard work. It's just all you got to do is drink something. And same with drugs, same with TikTok. It doesn't take any hard work. You're just scrolling, and there's a lot of ways to apply that. But yeah, I think anything worth doing is going to be difficult and there's going to be levels to it. And I think those are the things that make you the happiest. So,
Damn.
Eudaemonia, man.
That's powerful stuff, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta, like you said, you gotta do something that's hard, like every day. And then the crazy thing is like I noticed this actually, even like this morning, like I was gone for like almost 2 weeks, and I was used to waking up at like 6 in the morning every day. And then when I was gone, I was, maybe half the days I wasn't, because I was like, oh, spending time with my girlfriend or my brother or whatever. And then like waking up this morning was just hard. It was harder than it was before, because I'd like already started to get lazy and used to like, oh, I can sleep till 10 o'clock. That's so nice. Like, oh yeah. But then there is the power, like you get in that cycle and everything. Like when you do something hard, doing something hard becomes easier and easier and easier. And you can start to push that level, push the level, push the level, push the level, push the level. And maybe that's a little bit of what I'm feeling today, is like I'm like trying to like back into the thing again, and it's just like a little bit of a shocky to the system. So
Yeah.
but I'm trying to eudaemonia all over the place, So
Yeah, man. I go through cycles like that too, where it's like, I mean, because sometimes you're not your best, right? You wake up late or you sleep in, you miss a run or whatever, but you feel kind of like shit after, or at least I do. It's like, if I know I have a workout prescribed for that day and I got to go do it, and if I skip it,
oh
I'm better than that. Like, I feel like shit for the rest of the day. I'm like, I'm so much better than that, but I know I have the chance to correct that tomorrow. And so that's kind of what it comes down to, is it's a daily grind. But that's when I feel the most fulfilled, is when I know I'm like doing these things that are going to make me better, doing the hard things to where I'm not leaving my potential untapped. And I think that idea, I listen to podcasts, but I listen to like these audiobook kind of things too.
okay.
Do you know who Jocko Willink is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. He's like kind of one of the guys who's always talking about the daily grind, and like if you mess up today, like just get back on it tomorrow and build that momentum, build a rhythm, and you're kind of tapping into life that way. And David Goggins is another one of those guys. David Goggins is a freak, and it's like the way he lives, it seems miserable because he's doing like 1,000 pull-ups and fucking running a marathon every day and doing all this crazy stuff. But he's like one of the happiest people ever, is what he says, because you're the most fulfilled. You're doing hard shit every day. And I think that's just a good way to live.
Isn't that amazing? Like people are in such a search for fulfillment, and to realize that if you just did 1,000 push-ups, you'd be fulfilled. Like
Yeah.
actually, like, have you ever, like, every time you finish intense exercise, you're fulfilled. Like, there's no
Yeah.
like if you do something really hard and you finish, it's free fulfillment, bro.
Yeah. It doesn't
Like,
take much, but people
yeah,
search for it in a lot of ways that don't do it for them.
instead you
Drugs,
watch
alcohol.
TikTok for like 3 days and you're like, why am I sad?
Yeah. People like, why am I depressed? You know? Well,
Yeah,
other than like clinical depression, obviously people are like born with depression, but like sometimes you put yourself into that. You know,
I think that's
you sit at
big.
home and you wake up late and you eat shit food and
Mm-hmm.
don't take care of your physical body. You're going to be depressed. And I've gone through that. I was when we were going through the first part of the pandemic. My season had gotten canceled. We were supposed to go run in Alabama again to do NAI nationals, like a handful of us Menlo guys. And like we had to go home. We couldn't even be on campus. Everyone's socially distanced. We're doing Zoom University. And I got bitter and stopped running because I was like, fuck this, dude. Like, if I can't run and train for something, what's the point of running? And so I just started getting like depressed and anxious because I'm sitting at home all day, looking at a computer screen, talking to people. And there's just like nothing else to do because everything's shut down. And it's like, fuck, dude. Some people do this and there's not even a pandemic. Like, some people just live their life like this. And, you know, I just realized like the key to being fulfilled and getting out of that hole of like sadness and depression is like being active and doing hard shit. And, you know,
Do hard
challenge
shit.
yourself. Yeah,
That's
do
a
hard
fun
shit.
motto. That's a life. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
Do hard shit.
It's just
Wow,
like
that's it, bro. I get a tattoo of that. Do hard shit.
do hard shit, man.
Man, that's like, okay, guys, that's the key to life. Do hard shit. We found it. We're officially Jesus.
Yeah.
Full circled right there.
Yeah.
No, I think they're personally, like, I mean, I think you said you've been there. I've definitely been there where it feels like, you know, what's the point? Life's pointless. Like, this is stupid. Like, where the fuck are we doing? Like, I just feel sad or down or like unmotivated, tired. Like, you get that. And sometimes it's for long periods of times and you're like, God. But bro, every time it's because I'm living stupidly, you know, like, maybe you don't even want to acknowledge it to yourself, but like, why are you eating shit? Why are you not exercising? Why are you not doing hard shit? Why are you watching so much TikTok? Why are you on your computer? Why are you not having good interactions? Why are you not progressing yourself for your future? Why are you not, you know, like making some kind of career, some kind of ambition? Like, why are you not doing anything? That's why you get sad. And like, I feel like there is a lot in our culture that's like, I'm just sad because I'm sad. And like, I personally, I mean, obviously this is only my experience with it, but I think depression or just mood. So like, mood is a deck of a card, like a hand of cards. So like, you get a hand of cards in poker. You have to play life with this hand, and you have a different hand than I do, right? Like, so you have different opportunities that I do initially, but it's how you play the hand, you know? Because like, if I could just fucking give up and fold, or like, go all in, baby.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day, that like, you know, they say life is like these are the cards you're dealt and you got to do whatever you can with them. Some people just like don't give a shit. Like, some people are just like, yeah, I don't, like, I was dealt these shitty cards and like that's how the rest of my life's going to be. But there's so much opportunity and there's so much you can do. It just takes a lot of I don't know, small things every day. It's gonna change that for you, being disciplined in certain things. But
so is chasing some kind of capitalist, like making a life for yourself kind of thing, that's kind of like, that's doing hard shit, man.
That is doing hard shit.
So
That's
like
true.
in some way that's like fulfilling and moral, is like I want to do hard shit. Like I want to, because at the at the end of the day, everyone has an opportunity to do hard shit or like have an American dream or like live a capitalist, like everyone has an opportunity. Some people have more opportunity, some people have less, but I think virtually everyone has a chance
Yeah.
in like the way that we have this country set up in the world in most places. Some people can fall down 100 times and they'll still be all right. Some people can only fall down once
Yeah.
and they're on the street. But man, that actually concludes a little bit to the kind of dilemma I was in. That's awesome, bro. Like
Yeah.
it's
What?
not immoral to chase that.
It's not. I think there's two sides to that coin. There's sometimes you can feel guilty for like, yeah, I want the 9 to 5. I want that American dream. But then also it's like it's not easy getting that American dream. You know what I mean?
No.
There's a lot of good things you can learn through that. And you can be a contributing member of society that way. And
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it's like we live in this capitalist society where it's like you have to be productive, you have to make money to be worth something. And so I think just like with anything in life, it's not black and white. It's it's so multifaceted that you can't just like break it down into like, yeah, getting a 9 to 5, contributing to this capitalist society, like that's either good or bad. Like it can be good and bad. And you just gotta do it. And if it's worth it for you, then you should do it. But some people are like, no, I'm not contributing to that. Like I'm gonna go live my life as a nomad and
Yeah.
do whatever I want to do. And that's fine too. I think that's the cool thing about the United States is we have the freedom to live the life that we want to live.
And
So
like probably the best life usually comes to like a little bit of a sample platter,
yeah, you can
like
do a little
taking
bit of both.
a little both. Like I want to be like, I definitely, I want to be a nomad some days, and some days I want to be working for 16 hours, like, and like
Yeah.
trying to find that balance. And then I don't know, eventually, like I just want to be, I think that like what I've come to a little bit is like I want to be free. Like I want freedom. Like that I'm on a search for freedom. And I mean, for sure, find that in a good run, bro. Oh my God. When you ever have those runs where you finish it and you're like, yeah, like you get like those.
Yeah,
Oh, those are my
yeah, man.
favorite, bro.
You
Those are
just
my
got like
favorite.
endorphins flowing. You're just like thinking about good shit, and you're like, I can take on the world right now.
Yeah. I
But like,
like, yeah.
yeah, it's cool. That's why I love running,
Yeah.
dude.
I'll feel that. And lately, like, it's like sometimes it can be a little like, oh, you're bringing attention to yourself. But like, no, what the fuck, man? Like I'm just gonna like scream primally, like at the end of a
Yeah,
run, bro. Like if I'm flying down a mountain, man, and I get to town and I like see my front porch that I started on like 12 miles ago.
yeah.
Woo! Yeah, let's go, baby.
100%, dude. And
Yeah.
especially when you can share that with people, like other
Yeah.
runners. You know what I mean? Doing some hard shit like that with teammates, it makes
Yeah.
you, like even better friends, I
Yeah.
guess.
That's
So
funny, bro. I was in my brother goes to Boulder, and
uh,
I was finishing a run like 2 days ago. And it was like one of those where you're like, I'm feeling good, bro. Like it just
yeah,
feels, I'm like, and I went out, dude. I went in sandals. I was like, I'm gonna just like be like a primal man. I like went out in sandals, like shirt comes off. I'm like just short shorts and sandals, and I'm
yeah,
running through like it's like a 55-degree day, like post snow. So like there's still snow, but like it's just like warm. And like it's
yep,
the sun's reflecting off the snow and it's like making you even warmer. And I'm like zooming through the mountains and I come down and I have to like there's like a all of a sudden on the path towards the hall my brother lives in, there's like a 30 person like group going on a tour, and they're just kind of like there, like on their phones and stuff. And then like I see that, I'm like, oh shit, they're blocking the whole path. So I just like run over a snow pile, like scrambling. And I'm like, whoa! And I'm like, I know every single person's gonna be looking at me. I'm like, then after I get to the top, I'm like, ah!
Oh shit.
I'm just like this
You're
nearly
probably like-
naked man, just like crawling hands and knees
Yeah.
on through snow. Oh, I felt so free, bro. Felt so free.
They're
I was
like, this guy's on drugs for sure.
You can feel like that, man. Like it's powerful, bro.
Well, yeah, you're just like tapped into life is what it
Yeah.
feels like. Like you're locked in to
And
life.
some people shit on you for that. But
It's
like,
cool.
but then like, I bet you at least one person in that group was like, huh, this seems like a cool place, man. You know? So
That's
it
really
probably
lit.
been it probably like I want to be in a place where somebody's living. Like I want to go to UC Boulder. Like I don't
Yeah.
go there, but like they might think it's a good place to go. I don't know. That you're welcome, UC Boulder.
Free advertising right there.
Oh man. You got anything else?
Nah, man, I don't think so.
Okay.
I
It's
guess
been
what I would drop it with is just Eudaemonia,
Eudaemonia.
hard shit, and Memento Mori. Remember, you're gonna die.
Fuck.
Don't forget it. So
It's a beautiful way to end it. Thank you for coming on, Logan. It's been a pleasure. It's been great meeting you, kind of figuring out a little more about you. Great conversation. So thank you.
thanks for
See
having
you,
me.
dudes.